making it through here. And this is doubling back a little bit. Remember that there are some doors that appear on the same area because, well, we were initially coming through here, went that way, found this save crystal, went up through this door, went to a different area in between, and then once we got to the end of that area, we ended up in here. So it is still a little bit of a walk, however, we're getting close now. I was gonna say, if you guys want to attack anyone other than Emla, that might be good, because I don't think Emla has any physical reactions that she's working on at the moment. I think she's on the Geo Jacket. It might be... It's not Mardek, because he's on the magic reactions on Vern's armor. Dugan? Zach? I actually don't remember who does have physical reactions at this point. We might actually be pretty close to being done with those on these people. A lot of the chest plates that we're using are actually for the passive benefits. Things like Purity on Dugan and the Geo Jacket Resist Earth on Emila. Those actually don't need to have people getting hit in order to level them up. Did I go the wrong way here? No, I didn't. Okay. And so, when we go through here, we will find, again, doing a bit of a loop. It's kind of just the nature of this area. Inherently windy. Zach is, I would say, getting somewhat close to mastering Crescendo's Lash. However, it's not like he has much of a weapon to replace the Bone Slicer at the moment. There's no reason for us to swap back. His other weapon just has lower damage and is not particularly effective. Hold on. Oh, it's actually through here. Here we go. His old weapon is just less damage and is not super effective against undead. There's no real upside of his old weapon. So here we are at the previous location where we fought Morik. You know, this morbid pentagram and whatnot. Morik's tome. It seems to be filled with rather bad, depressing poetry. Or so you assume. It's written in a bizarre alien language, though. So the world may never know. And also, take a look at the map here. You'll see that it's almost like it's a specific shape. Almost like a, you know, something that we've seen before. Maybe somewhere where we are soon going to go. Food for thought. And you see there is a door here. I mentioned it earlier when we originally fought Morik. But now we have the opportunity to go through, and you see there's an entirely different area here. With 4 chests. And more ground to cover. Let me double check. Oh, we went by one of those chests. Because it was hidden. I suspect that many of them will be in here. 2,000 plus gold in that one. So yeah, probably a good thing for us to pick it up. And there you see a red exclamation point. Because yes, these are new enemies we have not yet fought that are a little bit scarier, perhaps. Zombie monsters. We saw the monsters at the very beginning of Chapter 1 when Mardek and Dugan were pretending to be their heroes, and now we see zombie versions of them. Yikes. So let's see. I think we do want to target one of them that has a lot of HP with Zack, because I'm assuming that yes, he may be able to take them out in one hit, and that is enough to have Dugan reach level 14. As for which elements they are weakest against, the answer is not any of both. Only light and ether are the things that are effective against them, but Emla does not have a way of getting either of those, so she's not going to be as effective here as she has been in the past. It does, however, mean that Spear Blade for Dugan sounds intriguing. Not quite enough to take him out. He's hanging on by 1 HP. So I think for Mardek to take down the one with more HP here, he would have been able to one-shot. And look at that damage. They almost one-shot Mardek, and he is our tankiest character. So that's concerning. And maybe now we understand why we were not able to skip this fight, because, well, these guys are pretty darn powerful. And that is maybe an indication that we ought to be on our toes here. With Mardek taking such a big hit, let's make sure we make a point of healing him up here. Back to full HP. And our next area on the map that we want to visit is top right. So through here, and here, Mind Crystal. A blue crystal which is attuned to the mental wavelengths of the mind chakras, such that it enhances the potential of the mind of its wearer. Or something like that. So, we take a look at that. We were talking several times recently about how it seemed as though we had not the best accessories. We needed one or two more for it to feel like we were rounding out the team. And the Mind Crystal gives 1 magic defense, gives the plus 10% MP ability, which we had one other item that has also given us that, so Mardek has had the opportunity to do so. I believe it was Lapis Lily? Yeah, it was. Okay. So this also gives that. Gives plus 1 spirit, plus 10 MP, and resistance to sort of like the magic-affiliated status effects, like Silence, Confuse, Curse, and Blindness. Blindness, I suppose, is more on the physical side of things, but that being the exception. So, this does look like a reasonable option for us to swap in on someone. As for who it ought to be, Emma is actually still using the Snake Stone. She does have 1 magic defense and resistance to poison, but we look at this option here with the Mind Crystal, also has the magic defense, in addition to several other things, so I think this is beneficial for us to swap over here. And is there anyone who still needs the poison resistance? Dugan does, actually. And, however, he's unlikely to be able to do that because, at the moment at least, he's working on Vim and Purity simultaneously. So he's pretty full when it comes to passive skills. Insomnia, and Zach is very close to mastering plus 1 agility. So I'm thinking this might be a Zach thing. Very soon. Not just yet, but soon. Let's bear that in mind. And as for where we want to go next, take a look. That is a dead end there, so I think the answer is definitely not there. However, we find new types of enemies, abominations this time. So they are using a Shadow Blade, which we've never seen before, an Onyx Ring, also never seen before. They are undead, as one might expect, and similar to the undead monsters, we do see that these guys are also a little bit weak to fire, so that is good to see, because that does mean that Emla will have an option against them. As for taking them out here, let's focus on the one with the most HP with Zach. He is down, and I don't think I need to tell you this, but let's probably try to make it so that these guys don't hit us, because, well, it's gonna hurt. One might expect, and unfortunately, Emla does not finish taking that guy out. And neither does Dugan, which is not good. Now, we did see this a little bit earlier. I demonstrated briefly. Using the heal ability offensively against undead will actually heal damage. On this occasion, I think it is particularly useful because it will actually be a way for Mardek to hit multiple enemies at once, which normally he would not be able to do. So ideally, we could take out both the relatively low life abominations here. We'll see if we can pull it off. That we can. Not enough to get the last one, but that was really the expectation. Tried to use an ability there against Emla that I believe would have applied the curse effect. Fortunately, did resist it. Zach, taking care of business there. So all in all, I think bullets dodged. Those guys also look like they mean trouble. So let's head on up here, see what else we can uncover in this secret location. And, well, there's something up here. Can't tell what just yet. Better potions? Sounds good. Zach does not have any yet. Let's put those on him. And a secret passageway. Oh, that we cannot make it through just yet, because there are more zombie monsters. Have we learned anything from the previous go-round? There are only 3 of them this time. Hopefully that means that we will be able to take them out without getting hit at all here. So if they were to hit anyone other than Mardek, then we might be in trouble. deliberately target the zombie monster that Emla hit with the Spirit Blade because we've established that Dugan cannot take them out in one hit, but Mardek can. Okay. Nothing too dangerous there. Again, mostly because we could take them all out before they got the opportunity to hit us. There is Zack mastering the +1 agility ability, and that does mean that is perhaps our cue. Give him the Snake Stone, and with those skills, go over to the passive side of things, and if we unequip +1 agility, we can now use Antibody as well. And I thought we saw some people, who were leveling up, who might have had access to more RP, and Emla was not using Resist Earth. That's no good. That's a very powerful passive skill that we want her to be mastering as quickly as possible because, well, we want other people to get it too. And, she does still have the better magic defensive reaction that she has not yet mastered as well, so we also want to make sure she's done with the Geo Jacket so that we can get back to working on this one. Other than that, she's all set. Dugan, anything that you can do now? You did, I assume, get an additional RP with a recent level, because now you can use Damage Soak as well. Didn't finish mastering the Magic Fire ability, like we were saying earlier. And... okay, still working on Purity plus Vid. That sounds fine. Here you see, like I was starting to say, there's another secret passage that I only noticed because, well, it's on the map here, but otherwise would be invisible to us. If we loop around, we will find ourselves in a new section in this area, and I'm not sure we're going to be able to dodge any of these fights. Not that we necessarily want to, unless we found ourselves in quite a bit of trouble, but these guys are looking pretty tough, and this is a new one, a Phantom. This time, heals to Aether, so Dugan, you're out of luck. Weak to air and weak to fire, and huge defense, a little bit of magic defense as well, so this guy's going to be tough to take out. As for whether Zack can pull it off, I'm not sure. We're going to find out. He cannot. Maybe with Berserk, it might give him enough damage to break through that defense, but I'm not positive about that. The primary way is going to be through Emla's skills, and there you see, he is fast enough to get a hit in on Dugan. And Dugan, maybe the power attack, similar to the Berserk ability with Zack, might give him enough power to get through. It does. Okay, that's fortunate. Otherwise, Emla might have been one of the only people capable of dealing any damage at all, which would have made things rather difficult. As we're going through here, we find one more chest in this location. It is another hidden one, and it's a trilobite key. Key shaped like a trilobite. We've seen 2 of these already, and this is very important, and it is why, or at least one of the key reasons why, I wanted to make sure that we went back here. We did see the trilobite cave ever so briefly previously. It was a locked door that we could not make our way through just yet. However, after having picked up a few of those keys, I think we'll find ourselves able to go through there quite soon. And I think we actually want to use the flame ability. In fact, if I remember correctly, we could theoretically start to check that area out, but I'm going to give it just a little bit of a delay, because there's a little bit more for us to do on that front. Okay, so Emla incapable of taking one of these abominations out in one hit. I think that does mean that Dugan ought to do this here, attack the same one, and leave it to Mardek to attack one on full life. Unfortunately, we can't split that damage, and the abomination does land a curse against Mardek there, unfortunately. Did take it out, however, that curse effect will be permanent. Unless we have a way to remove it, it carries over from one fight to the next. There's Pori Undead mastered for Zack, so that's great to see. Do we have anything to remove this curse on Mardek? First, will prevent him from using some of his skills. Holding water, that might be it. There's curses and zombification, okay. And it might be something that we could remove with remove paint. However, since he's cursed, he's not going to be able to use that ability, and it would be something we could normally remove with Remove Taint. However, this time around, not an option. So, for that reason, I think we do use a Holy Water here on Mardek, because it is important for us to be able to use his healing skills. And I believe that was the last chest in here. However, there's still something up in this direction, it seems. Something. Up there. Once we make our way through this phantom, and let's try using the Berserk. I'm not sure if Zach is going to be quick enough to have a second turn in which to test out that theory of whether or not he'll be able to deal damage with the Berserk active. And it is fire that we're supposed to use, right? It is. Okay. Still almost take that one out in one hit. Not quite, though. And Dugan, in one hit, you're going to have to power strike. Except you do need to hit. And I'm pretty sure that Mardek, plain and simple, just cannot deal any damage at all. So we can give it a shot, and Mardek will get some experience, but in case you didn't believe me, there you have it. And there is our theory being put to the test, and it did not stack up. Zach does not have enough damage, even with Berserk, to deal any damage against such a high defense enemy. And some ectoplasm, which we don't have a lot of, is a crafting item. And what the heck is this? Well, you see here, it's just a little friend I like to call the zombie dragon. And this is quite probably the most difficult enemy in all of Chapter 2. I would argue by a humongous amount, in fact. The zombie dragon is basically, as you might have expected, a zombie version of the dragon that we fought way at the beginning of Chapter 1. So, like the monsters that we saw earlier, zombie dragon, also a bit of a recreation, just of the undead variety. Now, it did use that breath ability at the beginning that applied a bunch of status effects. Emla is currently asleep. Zach just got cursed and silenced, which does mean he's not going to be able to use any of his abilities. Emla is not going to be able to do anything until she gets hit or woken up in some other way. Fortunately, Zach can still use his own attacks. Does he have a way of removing his own curse? He does not. He does not have a lot of items at the moment, so that's going to make for a pretty tricky fight for him unless someone else can bail him out. So at the moment, it's going to be a normal attack here. Fairly effective. Emla actually, woke up immediately. Okay, extremely lucky there. Let's double check which element is most effective against the zombie dragon. The answer is, surprise, surprise, actually, fire. Most zombies seem to be a little bit weak to fire, so I suppose the same goes for the dragon, even if it is a fire-breathing dragon. Well, I suppose this dragon isn't so much of the fire-breathing variety as much as it is of the annoying status effects variety, and we have just seen the beginning of that. So brace yourself. I anticipate that Spirit Blade is where we're going to want to go here. It is somewhat weak to Ether, and the Spirit is actually somewhat high, but I think that is probably still the best option for us here. 200 damage, not a ton. You'll see also, with over 10,000 life, I'm pretty sure that that makes the zombie dragon far and away the highest HP enemy that we have fought thus far. So Mardek could remove at least the curse on Zach, which I think is probably a good idea here, because we want Zach to be using his Crescendo Slash as early as possible so that he can continue to rack up the damage on it, because it gets more powerful every time he does use it. And there is a party-wide Thunderbolt attack from the zombie dragon. It'll hit us with, a little bit of everything. Crescendo Slash, here it is with Zach. And that is enough to master it. Almost 500 damage there. It will go up every time, assuming that Zach does manage to land a hit in consecutive turns, which, if the zombie dragon has anything to do with that, then, he might find a way to mess us up and interrupt Zach with some kind of status effect. For the time being, I think we do want to focus on keeping everyone on high HP here. We usually feel it's a little bit preemptive, I suppose, but just in case. And that is the most difficult attack to counter because, well, it can basically inflict any and all status effects. As for which ones you end up getting, it's up to chance, and sometimes it's much worse than other times. think we largely dodged a bullet there. Didn't see what is the worst one, in my mind at least. Emla, again, keeps on waking up relatively quickly. So has not missed a turn to sleep just yet. Okay, we'll continue to chip away at its HP here. And continue to use Spirit Blade for Dugan. We're going to end up burning through our MP relatively quickly here. You see that Emla, below half, Dugan, about half, Mardek, below half. So, for that reason, on Mardek in particular, I'm deliberately going to use an antidote rather than his remove taint ability. So that way we are focusing on saving as much MP as possible. Except, we see that, yeah, turns out, Zombie Dragon, capable of hitting pretty hard, you could say. Let's continue the crescendo slashes. And the damage keeps going up, so you like to see it. Flame will stay consistent, so basically what that means is that long-term, Zack should become, far and away, our most powerful attacker here. As for Dugan, I actually think this is probably a good opportunity for us to use some kind of healing item on Mardek, because that is a ton of HP that Mardek lost, and so much so that I don't think he'll be able to restore it all by himself. So let's use a better potion there. Still not going to be enough to fully heal him, but I'm hoping that in combination, one of Mardek's heals, that will be enough, and it is. Granted, ideally, that's actually considerably less damage there, but ideally we would be able to have Mardek land some attacks because Mardek has the Silver Sword, which is light elemental and effective against undead, both of which would make him very strong against this opponent. And as I said before, Crescendo Slash getting more and more powerful the longer the fight is. And Emla is soon going to be at risk of running out of some MP here. We should bear that in mind. Is there anyone we ought to give any items? Could opt to have Dugan heal himself a bit here with potion. He did get hit with the most recent dragon attack. I think that's not a bad idea. And that does allow Mardek to sneak in and hit here, and he is likely to deal far more damage than Dugan, so I think that is the way to go. Dark Claw does deal a ton of damage, of course, to Mardek again. But our damage is increasing as well. So I think we're on pace here. Be headed in the right direction. Granted, we do want to make sure we keep Mardek alive, so I think, again, try to find a way to heal him up here. Ideally not on his turn. So Mugwort Juice is an amazing item. Healing by 500 HP. I would rather not have to use that on Mardek. However, we don't have much of an in-between option. It's either a potion, which is only going to give 100 HP, which is not a ton. Probably could still get taken out in one hit at that point. Or Mugwort Juice, in which case we are overhealing him by a pretty sizable margin. I think we give it a shot, though, with the Mugwort Juice. Willing to do that, so that Mardek does manage to get this hit in here. So we really want that to happen. And there's a powerful hit on Emla, who is the... actually, doesn't have the lowest HP out of everyone here. That honor belongs to Zack of all people. He is the lowest level, so that's likely why. But, well, we want to make sure that Emla stays up too, of course. Zack, your job, though, is simple. Crescendo Slash, left, right, and center. Emla, your damage at this point is actually less than Zack's, and it's less than Mardek's. For that reason, I think it is best for you to heal yourself here, and a better potion is a good fit when you look at how much HP you have remaining. Won't quite get you full, which is still a little concerning. We could continue to use Dugan as our other item user, and that will get Emla basically full at that point, and still allow Mardek to be one of our primary damage dealers. And the Zombie Dragon, it's getting low. Goes for the Thunderbolt, though. It does hit everyone. Crescendo Slash, though, should get the Dragon quite low here. Over 1,000 damage. That means just a few more hits. I don't think it's going to be Emla. Whoever goes next has the opportunity here. Will Dugan have enough damage? He might. He might. Oh, not quite. Mardek, care to do the honors? And And that he does. Zombie dragon down. And with it, we get the burial sword. And Crescendo Slash Master. So, like I said, far and away, the most difficult enemy that we've fought thus far. Let's take a look at what that sword is all about, though. So, Burial Sword is a great sword, meaning it would go on Dugan, 32 damage compared to the 26 that he currently has on his Ancient Sword. It is a decorative but powerful sword that was buried with Social Fox in his tomb. It may or may not have belonged to him at some point. Gives Dugan access to a new boost ability as well as a plus 30% offensive reaction. It is also light elemental and gives plus 2 strength, so it is certainly a weapon upgrade for Dugan, and is fitting given all the undead enemies that we've been fighting, giving Dugan the opportunity to get some light elemental damage as well to prove extra effective. And with that, I think that this is probably a good place for us to wrap up this video. And as for what comes next, well, we'll have to see what Mork is up to in Pannonia.